All right, time for headlines as we get cracking here on a Thursday morning. That looks like Kansas City scored a touchdown. Yeah, there it is. Travis Kelce, Patty Mahomes, of course. That's the AFC Championship game right there. Travis Kelce said in an interview on his own podcast yesterday that there is some truth to the notion that they were kind of sleepwalking a little bit, been there, done that, and didn't flip that switch until December, and that's why we're seeing better football out of Kansas City. I find it hard to buy that, because I saw the frustration on the sideline week after week. We saw that offense only score, 17, 18 points a game for a long time. But I appreciate what he's saying, that they never really panicked. They won the division. That wasn't up for grabs. And they knew we're good enough to win on the road. We can win at home. And now that we're in December and January, we know exactly what it takes to win. You put any credence into that?
Well, I know Spags had talked openly about when they lost to the Raiders at home in that second half, where the Raiders pretty much didn't throw the ball. They just ran the ball down their throats and walked them out of their own building. Spags said, it wasn't him going to those guys and saying, hey, we got to do better. It was the guys collectively saying, hey, this is not who we are. This is not what we built. So it was more of a players-only thing. They really kind of rallied around that. But overall, man, these guys have been there, done that, right? So they know the map. Now able to
let me ask you this, Mark, because I was in Denver doing talk radio in one of your championship runs, and if I have the facts wrong, please stop me. But my memory, I think, of the '98 season was you guys are undefeated, lost back-to-back games at the end of the season, and then the big question was, what's wrong with Denver? Do you remember a moment where you guys, after back-to-back losses, I think you were 13-0 at one spot in that year, were like, what's wrong? Hey, it's the playoffs. We know how to flip the switch and get right back to the type of football?
No, I think you have a lot of confidence in what you've done in the past, who you are, the way you've played. Once we lost the first game, Coach sabotaged us in the second game.
Meaning what? Because you lost to the Giants.
We lost to the Giants.
Right.
And then we went on the road to play Miami, which I call a gold bond game in Miami because, you got to put a lot of powder on your garbles. So, you got that. There's no more miserable.
It's called chafing.
Right. There's no more
You ever play 36 holes of golf in one day?
Right.
That's what he's talking about.
There's the most miserable place to play in December is not Green Bay, it's Miami.
By far.
Really?
It's miserable, right? When you're fat, you're out of shape, you're sucking eggs, and you're not used to not used to the heat anymore.
And it's 30 degrees. You come from up north. It's 30, 40 degrees. Right. In Miami, it's 90 degrees.
Miami is miserable.
And you listen to salsa.
I'm finding this so hard to believe.
Right. Miserable.
No, guys hate it.
Hate it. Anyhow, so we're playing Miami.
Yeah.
And we know that the possibility is that we're going to face Miami in the playoffs.
Okay.
So we ended up literally going in with 2 or 3 runs, and we ran 1 protection. We ran 3 jet, which was a turn strong to the right-hand side. So myself and Tony Jones were one-on-one the entire game.
That's brutal.
It was brutal. It was and we did nothing. We showed them 0, and they beat our ass, and they were celebrating like they won something, And then they came to Denver in the playoffs. We beat them 38-3. I mean, just smackdown.
Shanahan set him up, huh?
Yeah. But complete and total.
Got it.
Sabotage.
That's the kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Look, I appreciate what
Travis. There's some truth, and I hate the flip the switch mentality, but there's some truth. We've done it. We've been there. We're that good. And we got Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, and I should also mention that Mark knows this. Mark played with a guy named Bill Romanowski, and Bill Romanowski had equity in a company called Flip the Switch. It was a sports apparel brand in Denver because they thought they knew how to flip the switch.
Oh, wow.
So, look, Kelce had a great game. Kansas City knows how to win. But now you're in the Super Bowl. There's no more switch to be flipped. Number 2, there's a damning article online about the New York Jets this past season, talking about the level of dysfunction inside that locker room. I mean, you've got some unhappy dudes who are no longer Jets, whether they be on the coaching staff and or players who are now spilling the beans. To me, this is an article that never needed to be written. They talk about the coach being paranoid and trying to figure out ways of making himself look better. As you see right there, it's just an effing mess. Something needs to change. An AFC general manager said Aaron Rodgers is the general manager of that team. Well, we've known that the whole year. Yep. And Hackett never changed the offense to accommodate for a different skill set of Zach Wilson as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, who, of course, got hurt on the 4th play. Here's my problem with the article. We knew all this stuff already. Right. We talked about it every week for 4 months, right? And if you want to talk about the dysfunction of the Jets, I'm your Huckleberry. I'll do it all day, every day. The Jets season ended when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, period, stop. And we can make all the, arguments you want about Robert Saleh's not a winning coach. He hasn't been. Joe Douglas is not a winning general manager. He hasn't been. You can't tell the Jets story without starting and ending with the fourth play of the season when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Period. Stop.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, everything that was talked about in that little article, we've already known. The problem is that right now, moving forward, it seems unless they go out and get a guy in case Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, we're not going to be satisfied that this organization is moving in the right direction. But I think dysfunction, that's just riddled around the Jets, man. There's nothing that was said in there that we personally didn't know.
Yeah, it's like, Robert Saleh made a list of every coach in the history of football that lost his starting quarterback and showed what their record was after losing the starting quarterback. And obviously the records aren't very good. Right. And he was showing that to make a point of, it ain't my fault. My defense is badass. We're a top 5 defense. What do you expect me to do? My general manager didn't get me a legitimate, viable backup quarterback. That's not on me. So much more on that coming up. But what would be the NFL without another offseason of Jets dysfunction?
You said it's a damning article.
Yeah.
No, it's not a damning article. It's just an article, because that's exactly what it is. That's who the Jets are. It's the most jetty thing ever.
Yeah, jetty. It's a jetty.
It's a jetty
you
thing.
Love it. Jetty. Mark loves poking New York sports fans, man. Typically Giants fans, but he loves the pokey. Micah Parson spoke. He recognized that he's not the best player in the league, I guess. But he heard Jerry Jones's comments about being all in, as we discussed earlier this week. And Micah came out and said, I hope so, because we didn't do it last year, meaning the Dallas Cowboys did not acquire more talent that he thought they should go after. But I'm thinking about saying, man, when you beat the Giants 40-0, when you blew out the Patriots, when you beat the Carolina Panthers, when you had home field advantage up to the NFC Championship game, seemed like you had enough talent to win. What happened, Micah?
Well, on top of that, you got to stay within your pay grade, right? Like, you're not the owner. You don't tell the owner what to do. You allow him to do what he does. At the end of the day,
how about you get a couple sacks in a big game?
But I was going to say that. How about you pop up the tape? How we don't have a tape against you against 49ers, you getting body slammed by USEC, right? Like, there's tape out there where you're not the guy. Yeah. So stay within your pay grade.
So Micah Parsons, not afraid of a microphone at all, but apparently afraid of sacking the quarterback.
They're one of the top 5 talented team in the National Football League, bar none. Talent is not your issue.
I agree.
That
quarterback
is not your
players.
issue.
That's obvious. You all know that. All right, good. Brand new segment here that Jacoby's going to take over. A little something we like to call Small Story, Big Deal. Take it away.
Okay, so the Jets did not wish Robert Saleh a happy birthday yesterday. Oh. That's a small story. However, big deal. Big deal. Yeah. For the last 12 years in a row, the Jets' social media accounts has wished their head coach a happy birthday. And just all of a sudden, they didn't do it this year. Yeah. Does that tell you that Robert Saleh is out as a head coach?
Well, I know that there's blood in the water.
Right.
I know there's some talk out there that the Jets are actually looking at some Titans assistant coaches to bring it to the fold, and that there's some interest maybe in a guy named Mike Vrabel. Slow your roll out there. Mike Vrabel's never won a damn thing.
But they didn't say happy birthday.
But here's the craziest thing about the Jets, because like you said, last year they wished him a happy birthday.
Yep.
The year before that, they wished him a happy birthday. The 10 years before that, they wished whoever the coach was a happy birthday.
They knew it was his birthday yesterday.
But I have to give the Jets a pass to this one for one reason. They wished me a happy birthday.
There you go.
And maybe they got confused.
Are you the head coach of the Jets?
Because we look very similar. And maybe they just got confused. And they were like, handsome bald guy is on team. That must be our coach. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
So
you guys share a birthday.
We do share a birthday.
Now here's the
10
deal.
years apart.
12 years in a row, they've been absolute dreck wishing their coach a happy birthday.
Good point.
Oh, good spin.
Maybe this is a
good spin.
Right. Maybe this is a hey, we're going to try doing something new, different. Not wish our guy
as Willie knows, as you guys know, I know the Jets very well. I'm very close with the New York Jets. I know what happened or is going to happen in about an hour and 40 minutes when the 23-year-old social media director for the New York Jets comes to work. Pack your bags, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Because now you've created, although it's nonsense, you've created a narrative that the New York Jets hate Robert Saleh. Right? So that kid, unfortunately, is getting fired Good day.
It's not even that hard. It's on your Google calendar. It just pops
It's right
up.
there. Yeah.
I got 1,472 people on LinkedIn wishing me a happy birthday. I don't know who any of them are. So you're right. Just put it in the phone and
put it in.
do it right.
Dumb.
Okay, next. The Chiefs' pass catchers have only dropped one pass in the last 2 games. Small story. Big deal! In the previous 18 games, they had 48 drops.
Damn.
Is the key to them winning the Super Bowl simply their pass catchers catching passes?
It's part of it, 100%, and you saw it on 3rd and 9, game on the line,
Yes, sir.
and they throw the ball deep down the middle of the field, 0 coverage, and MVS makes the greatest catch of the year for him, falling down backwards, stumbling like me at Yankee Stadium, except he held on to the ball and sealed the game. If they make catches like that, if they don't miss any of the routine opportunities to make catches, it is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
The other thing is go back to the last time they matched up in the Super Bowl, or the Kansas City was in the Super Bowl against Tampa. I mean, not against San Francisco, but against Tampa. Remember, Tampa was basically they're playing their linebackers at about 7 yards depth. They were going, please run it against us, please run. And Andy Reid was like, no, I'm going to win the way I want to win.
Correct.
We're throwing the football. And they ended up losing that.
Yeah.
What have they done the last couple of weeks? Isaiah Pacheco
I've been
has
saying
been
it all week.
right.
Yeah.
He has been the offense,
Yeah.
man. He has been the guy they've run the offense through.
Facts.
That's smart coaching.
Remember
in my
this, though. Not a prolific offense, a smart offense.
Right.
And I think that's the difference between Kansas City during this dynasty run and Kansas City this year. They're not scoring 30, but they're smart now in how they run their offense, as opposed to a run being a dump-off pass, which they count as a run. Now they're handing the ball off and letting Pacheco do his thing.
Yeah.
So it is a big difference.
And Kelce's been catching a lot more. You talk about MVS in crucial situations. Like, the trust is back.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're able to trust the receivers that are making plays.
You know, you're a very handsome man.
You know,
Very
hear that
handsome.
enough.
You look great today.
Thank you for everybody
Willie,
out
you look
there.
great today, buddy.
Well, you know, I showered.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.